Jamie Carragher gobs on children and had a Christmas sex party with Ronald McDonald. But we all lose our heads sometimes, don't we? From hotel room hand shandies to Yokohama police chases, this is the story of the Red who lost his head.
No, that's absolute nonsense.
Welcome back to The Upshot. I'm Jack Rivlin. Zach Sweeney-Lynch is in the house.
Hello.
Hello. And we're joined by JP Lockwood. He's back.
All right, Zach. All right,
JP. Is that our effort? Scouse accent.
Yeah. You all right, lads? All right.
We got producer George as well with us.
Hello, you're right.
Hello. I was hoping for some Scouse there.
Yeah, you're right.
We need to get it out now.
Yeah, get it out of the system. Yeah. Get a bit of practicing in. Guys, we teased some pretty tantalising stories in that intro about Jamie Carragher. Obviously, a lot of people know Spitgate. We'll get to that later, but there's some quite wild stuff here.
I thought he was quite tame, but then there's actually quite a lot in this episode that's...
Quite a lot of stuff from his younger days.
Yeah, there's some fun detail to some of those stories. Have any of you ever met him?
I've never met him, but my mate Baker, shout out Baker, was at Glastonbury this year, and he was watching Carl Cox at Arcadia, and he turned around and it was Jamie Carragher looking a little bit worse for wear, having it to Carl Cox.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
He loves it.
Yeah, he's there every
year, I think.
Yeah, I saw him not this year, but previous year. I was watching Arctic Monkeys on the Friday night, and I just heard this sort of Liverpudlian accent, Scouse accent behind me, and it was just really kind of just heckling, really, being like, "What are you doing? Playing all the new stuff? Play the fucking hits, man! Play the fucking hits!" I was like, "Who's this?" I turned around, it's Cara wearing a bucket hat, welding a bag of cans with his entourage. He was there with his buddies. He looked like he was having a good time besides the playlist.
Yeah, it's quite nice that even when he's at Glastonbury, he's sort of in pundit mode, telling the Arctic Monkeys what to do. Need to play the bass guitar there. All right, as I said, there are some very good tales in Jamie's life story. So should we get into it? Zach, do you want to take us back to the beginning?
Yeah, so Jamie was born in Liverpool. He was born into a pretty die-hard Everton family. So his two middle names, Lee and Duncan, were actually after an Everton manager and Everton player. And his dad was a real Goodison Park ultra. So there was this FA Cup semi-final where he stormed onto the pitch to confront the manager about some substitution or something. It was actually the same manager that he named his son after 2 years previously.
It means a lot to him.
It's a long time in football, though. 2 years. You can go from naming your son after him to violently confronting him.
I think his dad was a bit of a nutter, I think. So he was a Sunday league manager as well, and apparently once got a fine from the FA for attacking the referee with a corner flag.
Oof. Wonder if he javelined him or just tried to whack him with it.
Or hold it up against their throat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Choke him out with the flag.
That'd be my method. That comes later in the story.
Yeah, anyway, being such a sort of die-hard blue, his dad probably wasn't too over the moon when Jamie signed for Liverpool's academy when he turned 10. Apparently Jamie used to turn up wearing his Graham Sharp Everton kit.
Love it.
And actually, right up to the point where he was breaking into the Liverpool first team, he was still listen to Everton games on the radio on the way to matches and celebrate when they scored. And at some point, one of the Liverpool coaches just pulled him aside for a quiet chat and was like, "Yeah, you probably won't go down too well on the COP.
You are going to get your head kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
Your Everton days are over, mate.
Yeah.
And from that point, he just had to be a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, he said actually in his book or in an interview recently that for him there's two Evertons. There's the Everton of the 80s that he thinks of as us, and then there's sort of modern Everton.
Convenient.
That he's them.
The ones that are 20th in the league at the time of recording.
The shit show.
Yeah, he's timed that well.
Yeah, true.
It must be weird because then your family are still I think we talked about this in the John Terry episode. His family were gutted when he left West Ham Academy for Chelsea. And when he scored against West Ham, he went and celebrated in front of the West Ham fans.
Yeah.
And his dad and his uncle were just there, screaming, "You fucking cunt!"
Bottling him.
Yeah. It must be weird.
Especially when he becomes such a club legend.
One club man,
He's synonymous, really, with Liverpool.
Yeah.
So at that point, he was also coming up through the England youth setup. And in 1997, he goes with the under-20s on tour in Malaysia. And there's a story from this journalist who was like following the team around, and he said they were at a bar one night and all the players got pretty drunk, and at some point Jamie stood up and basically decided he couldn't be bothered to go to the toilet and just pissed himself standing there, like pissed all over this journalist's shoes as well.
How old was he?
I mean, played with the under 20s,
right,
so like
19 or
19.
Do you reckon he
18,
went
whatever,
over
I
to
guess.
piss on the journo, like as a bit of
I don't know, maybe
fucking-
he'd been, yeah. I mean, I was kind of surprised that the journalist was out drinking with the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, different times.
Yeah.
Better
yeah.
times.
Although, I mean, that's a pretty rank thing to do, but to be honest, it is vanilla compared to what Kieran Dyer was cooking up. So in his autobiography, he talked about this same trip to Malaysia, and apparently him and some of his teammates shat in a plastic bag and hung it on the bedroom door handle of Ted Powell, who's the under-20 manager.
What, just to be like, fuck you, boss?
I don't know what
I
they
presume Ted doesn't really demand respect.
No.
Yeah. So he said the bag was then passed round from player to player. One by one, someone would disappear into the toilet with it and emerge and give it to another player.
God, you don't want to go
It's
last.
like
Yeah.
like heavy
touching it.
Yeah, it'd
heavy
get quite
carrier
heavy,
bag
wouldn't
just
it?
filled with shit.
Yeah, you definitely want to go first in that game.
What, and then they just hung it
They
on
just
his
hung it on the
door?
manager's door.
I reckon in Malaysia you can get in quite a lot of trouble for that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing.
Yes, then you get your like hand chopped off. You drop your chewing gum.
Yeah, exactly. Don't know what they do for a bag of shit out the window.
You're going to get beheaded for that. And yeah.
10 people's worth of shit.
We should contact Ted and find out what he did with it.
Yeah.
Never heard of Ted Powell since. Actually. Who is he?
He probably after that incident, he probably
That's
just,
it. I'm packing it in. Sheila.
Oh, he's stuck in Malaysia. He's in a fucking
Wanted.
nick.
Why in the 90s was so much of football like humour revolving around shitting?
Shit, scat,
yeah.
isn't
There was
it?
that.
Scat.
Who was it? There was someone who shat in a pillowcase and.
Oh, it's Paul Merson.
Paul Merson.
Yeah,
Paul
it was
Merson, that was
on the
it,
Tuesday
yeah.
Club.
Shit was funny in the 90s.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know. I can't think of anyone I know who's done a shit-based prank.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start. It's like an upshot thing.
Yeah. Well, next time I bring you a
It's the
coffee.
initiation for new guests.
Finally secured a famous
So, yeah, no, we
comedian,
can
then I
do-
shat in his shoes.
Let me take your coat.
And then we all pass the bag round. All right, so was Carragher involved in the shitting, or was he just...
He's not mentioned specifically in Kieran Dyer's autobiography.
pissing on
Dyer
journalists'
does say
shoes.
that there were some players who abstained, but
enough.
judging by the fact Carragher pissed on a journalist's shoes, I don't know if he's the sort for
Yeah.
abstaining on that.
So
kind of thing. I don't know.
It's
Not
not
sure
for
who's
Kieran Dyer
involved.
that because he's the one who's told the story, it sounds like he was the ringleader.
Yeah. You'd imagine Michael Owen abstained from that
Yeah.
activity.
Would he have been on that tour? They're the same age, aren't they?
Yeah, and they break through at a similar time. So 1997, Carragher breaks into the Liverpool first team. So he's a member of this group of Liverpool players that the press dubbed the Spice Boys. So it's like David James, Jamie Redknapp, Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman, Jamie Carragher. And they're all famous for being a bit flashy, quite party loving. It's this first era where Premier League players are making big money, and they're flashing it. So apparently they get private jets down to London to go to China White after matches.
Those were
Phil
the
Babb.
days.
Phil Babb starts dating a page 3 model.
Phil Babb. What a name.
God.
Yeah.
Golden era.
Neil Ruddock told another story. They'd pass around a pound coin during matches between the players. So, they go out at the start, someone had it, and whoever ended up with it at the full-time whistle had to buy a round of drinks for the whole team.
I wonder where you put the coin when you've got it.
You got
You
pockets.
just carry it around
Carry
and
it.
try and like,
You've not got pocket.
You've got pockets
haven't
in your
got-
30 shorts.
I guess you just hold it in
holding
your
it.
fist, and just like trying to pass it on, which when you're playing Arsenal at Highbury, it's probably got bigger things to worry
You know
about.
how the criticism of the Spice Boys at the time was like they're more interested in partying than winning football
That was
matches.
always their
You
criticism,
can see how.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can see how if you've heard of that game.
I always envision them, when they turned up to the FA Cup final in those white suits.
Yeah.
That's always how
And they're
Iconic.
lost.
We should actually do an episode. I think there's enough.
Yeah. Well, there was no occasion that summed up the Spice Boys' booze-fueled hedonism like Liverpool's debauched 1998 Christmas party. So this party took place in the basement of a pub in Liverpool, and typically for the time it was fancy dress. So Paul Ince turned up as Zorro. Jamie Redknapp was Alibaba in a costume I assume you probably wouldn't get away with these days.
Pretty good taste, I'm sure. It's quite an obscure choice.
That's what I was about
Alibaba.
to say, yeah. Was it like anything goes fancy dress?
I mean, there was that Liverpool party where John Barnes turned up dressed as a KKK. So
Have you seen that?
No.
I've not seen that one.
There's a team photo, and John Barnes has got the like pointy hood.
You're just not getting away with that.
Grand
shit now,
wizard.
Yeah.
No
And
holds
it
barred.
makes Alibaba look pretty tame.
Yeah.
Really. Pretty PC.
Zorro.
Steve McManaman was a priest, and Jamie Carragher was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And so conveniently for us, the News of the World managed to sneak into this party with a camera, and they spared no details in their front page expose. So actually my favourite part of this article is that they start by saying, a News of the World team had gone there expecting to take some happy snaps of the stars, enjoying themselves in a season of goodwill. Which is definitely not what they were. They're hoping they were hoping for like pictures of Michael Owen doing a Christmas cracker with Steve McManaman. Like,
really wholesome turkey in the background.
yeah.
That's why I've got a hidden camera in my buttonhole. Because I want some really nice seasonal pictures.
Maybe it was the one Jamie pissed on. Coming back for revenge.
Yeah.
Bit
Probably. And yeah, to be honest, their descriptions of what happened at this party are so good that I'm just going to read them out. So there's no way that I can even live up to that. So it starts, Liverpool idol Jamie Carragher shambled and lurched under the weight of a fancy dress hunchback outfit as he prowled around a nervous stripper at the most debauched Christmas party ever to shame soccer. Then the 20-year-old whipped off his hump, stripped off his clothes, and exploded in a sex-crazed frenzy as fans and friends descended into a thrashing mass of naked bodies.
I mean, that is quite a good description.
Are they saying orgy there, basically?
Okay, I'll continue. A sex maniac. A sex maniac dressed as TV chef Ainsley Harriott performed disgusting sex acts with a stripper.
So what is it?
So who was that? Do we not know?
They didn't name
I
them.
don't know. So I think there were some like friends and family or just like fans or whatever
Are you
at the
sure
party.
it wasn't just Ainsley Harriott?
Also, what is an Ainsley Harriott costume?
You got the problem like what chef whites, didn't you?
Yeah,
but
Chef Whites.
he often wore quite loud shirts. I was thinking,
Yeah, oh yeah.
it's
quite-
like a green peppers and a red tomato
Yeah.
sign or something.
Yeah.
When he's selling his couscous. Can you
Yeah.
put his little paisley shirt on.
And just being all a bit camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good outfit.
Got some lovely green tomatoes. Hang on, I just want to dig into that
Yeah.
a bit more. So it's a sex maniac. What makes
sex-
him a sex maniac? Just what followed?
There are more quotes of what Ainsley Harriott gets. Not Ainsley. A member
Disclaimer.
of somebody dressed as Ainsley Harriott gets up to.
I really enjoying the thrashing mass of naked bodies.
Yeah.
It's like images of hell from medieval times.
It's real like Last Days of Rome.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
with Ainsley Harriott.
Jamie Carragher whipping off his hump. At one point, they're like, he's weighed down under the hump. Like. Right, carry on.
So I'll continue. Then a stripper who was dressed as a firewoman squirted cream onto Jamie Carragher's chest before licking it off. More cream went on the handsome 6-footer's private parts.
Oh, right. Okay, this is sort of stag
Stag
do
do
stuff.
sort of stuff, yeah. Carragher got down on all fours like an animal and begged to get in on the act.
Why do they have to make it so like like an animal?
And why all fours? What's he doing there?
She was probably told to get on all fours. or
Oh,
something.
I think she might have brought out a
Dog.
sex toy by this point.
Also, when he says beg to get in on the act is rubbing cream on his knob. So what
I think by this point she's got a vibrator out or something.
Oh,
I
right,
think-
just get
I
involved
think, yeah.
in the thrashing mass of
Yeah.
naked bodies.
Slapping him with it.
Yeah, so he at this point picks her up and throws her over his shoulder.
Well, she's a firewoman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a
She
fight.
should
Yeah,
be doing
true.
it to
She's-
him.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
And
Maybe
he's
she
a
did.
hunchback.
yeah.
A horny hunchback.
Horny hunchback. It wasn't only the horny hunchback though that's getting involved. Then a lookalike for Ronald McDonald tried to join the fun by running onto the dance floor brandishing a sex toy.
Happy Meal.
The man dressed as Ainsley Harriott got into the action by running onto the dance floor, exposing his private parts and rubbing himself against the other stripper.
I'm just picturing Ainsley Harriott doing
Yeah,
that.
just got Ainsley Harriott in my head now.
And I still can't work out how they're so sure he's an Ainsley Harriott.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we need to get the tape. Really.
Oh, yeah. So this was filmed, wasn't it?
This was all filmed on a secret camera.
And they published still photos, but we've only got the text of it.
Yeah, so we are planning a visit to the British Archive to
the British Library with like a pair of tweezers turning the pages.
Looking out for Ainsley Harriott in his Paisley shirt.
Ronald McDonald brandishing a sex toy.
With our white gloves and like one of those like extendable monocles.
What the like diamond dealers have.
So amid all this unbridled debauchery, you're probably wondering whether there was anybody, trying to rein Jamie in a little bit. So apparently Paul Ince at one point got on the mic begging Jamie to calm down.
Specifically Jamie, not
specifically Jamie. It was
Ronald
targeted Jamie.
Got off quite lightly there.
And in perhaps the least surprising revelation of the whole article, it says Michael Owen was at the back of the room away from the action. He looked stunned.
Supervising.
Just terrified and horrified.
Yeah.
How old would Michael Owen have been? Sort of 19 or something?
Yeah, 19, 20, I guess, at this point. So back on the dance floor, though, things are showing no signs of slowing down. So it says that many in the audience were clearly uneasy, but a hardcore of partiers were already taking off what remained of their clothes.
Ronald's wig's gone.
Ainsley's Paisley shirt's off.
I'm just picturing the Ronald McDonald guys just in the makeup.
And red shoes.
Yeah, really long red shoes.
Ainsley Harriot's just got his chef's hat over his knob.
over his red pepper.
It says Carragher was uncontrollable. He and another man began exposing themselves. The man then had full sex with a stripper as a howling group crowded round to watch every bit of the action. Outside the sniggering ring was Michael Owen, his face creased with worry.
Is it because they need like a protagonist in this story who's like an innocent boy, horrified by it, the moral conscience, Michael Owen, creased with worry?
That's my favourite line. His face creased with worry. You just see Michael Owen's furrowed brow.
Also, sorry, there's one guy's shagging and a howling group are crowding round.
Yeah.
Right.
It says, meanwhile, another stripper performed sex acts on the man dressed as Ainsley Harriott, while another did the same to Carragher.
Right. Well, a sex act usually means blowjob, doesn't it? In tabloidese.
Yeah.
I assume
it's
so.
It's either a blowjob or they're tossing him off. Right?
Yeah. Chaos reigned. Ronald McDonald charged.
Ronald's getting properly stuck.
Says Ronald McDonald charged over to get a closer look at the sex action.
His big shoes. Can you imagine you're shagging and you just open your eyes, look up, and the face of Ronald McDonald is over you?
Just love Ronald McDonald charged over to get a closer look. I'm imagining it's like at a kid's party when you open a bag of sweets and the kids are
Also, I love the fact that News of the World have now dispensed with being like, the man dressed as Ronald McDonald. It just is Ronald McDonald doing it.
Yeah. So this all goes on for about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes until the News of the World get rumbled. So a naked man wearing only a cap, white socks and trainers jumps onto the table where the News of the World journalists are sat and dislodges their camera. So their camera goes flying across the dance floor. Bouncers realise what's happened and come like charging at the journalists to kick them out. They manage to grab their camera and escape out of a fire exit, jump into a car that's waiting outside and speed off to News of the World HQ.
Wow. Real 90s stuff.
Yeah.
So what camera was it? Was it like disguised?
I'm imagining maybe it was like hidden in a handbag or something that sat on the table.
And is it
very
smart? Is it a public event? Like who are they supposed to be?
I don't know. Back room of a club, right?
Yeah, it's down a basement of a pub,
Yeah,
so I don't know. I think probably like fans and some like family friends were allowed to come
enough
in,
people
whatever.
that you could sort of. I'm picturing they've brought like a plant pot and they've sort of between the leaves hidden this camera on a tripod.
Yeah,
I love that they then have to like run out the fire exit.
Yeah.
So who's got the camera now?
Well, they made
this
off
is the
with
thing.
it.
So they say they've got a 1 hour 50-minute tape of the party, which
we need to go to the British Archives.
Worth its weight in
I
gold.
don't think the video's there, is it?
You never know.
On one of those really old film projected onto the wall.
Yeah. The Holy Grail.
Just
We
like
found
the
it.
crackling sound, and then it's just Ronald McDonald just charging over to join in an orgy. Is that Ainsley Harriet?
We'll bang it on the reels once we found it.
Must
Maybe
be a
we
weird
could,
day.
maybe
at
we could
the
do a sort of like Indiana Jones-esque like break into the British archives.
Yeah.
Just like sliding under the doors.
We had to.
Going in by the roof.
Yeah.
Must have been a weird day at the office for the strippers. You come home and you're like, an orgy with Ainsley Harriet, Jamie Carragher,
Ali Baba.
Ronald McDonald, and Ali Baba today.
Hunchback of Notre Dame was there for a bit.
Michael Owen looked worried. Well, the way the News of the World have written it is deliberately like condemning it, which is what they always do with football, are like kiss and tells and scandals.
So it's very moralising.
But I
isn't
think the only reason they actually, people think it's because they're like have these moral views. I think it's actually even more pathetic than that. It's that to justify like invading people's privacy by doing those stories, you've got to act like there's some like moral crime being committed.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing, the whole like basic hypocrisy of tabloids is they couldn't just be like, look how funny this is. They had to be like, look how awful this is.
Yeah.
We've dispensed with that.
it? Go full
Do
on.
you think
We're just finding it
embrace
funny.
yeah.
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
In the tabloid.
But like, it is just funny.
Yeah, it must have been so much fun writing those articles.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun being there.
Being there, being Ronald McDonald.
Fantasy of mine.
Ronald McDonald, Ainsley Harriet.
Ainsley Harriet.
Would he be the celeb chef you'd most like to have an orgy with?
Yes.
Not Gordon Ramsay. It'd be quite funny.
You wouldn't want to do Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay would have a go at you. Like,
Yeah.
You need to fucking hurry
Who
up.
are you? A
Yeah.
shit sandwich?
Yeah. You need to fucking hurry up and come right now, or you can fuck off.
The hairy bikers.
Harry Bikers would be quite sweet, actually. I think. Quite nice.
Quite gentle,
Quite
yeah.
romantic.
Marco Pierre White would be awful. as well.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be quite elegant.
What on earth is that technique? He just really.
I think
tear you
Lloyd
apart.
Grossman talking dirty. Lloyd Grossman.
quite
Delia?
smart.
Delia.
Delia. Let's be having you!
Go on, Delia. Where are you? Right here.
Where are you? I'm on top of you, Delia. All right. So, what does Jamie get in trouble for this orgy? I remember it's
don't
quite a
know.
big scandal, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was quite a big story at the time. I don't know if it really. I don't know if he gets punished for it.
Did
Maybe
he have
the-
a childhood sweetheart that he was with? Was he married?
The
I
lovely
think
Nicola.
he does marry his
The lovely
childhood
Nicola.
sweetheart.
Isn't she
Yeah,
called
yeah,
Nicola? Yeah.
Nicola.
Yeah, I don't know what the status of that was at that time, but I feel like he gets in quite a lot of shit. There's quite a lot of like moralising in the newspapers about it.
I mean, it was the club Christmas party, so I imagine they weren't too happy about what happened.
This is sort of the
Yes.
beginning and the end for big Christmas parties.
I think apparently this was so Gerard Houllier came in
yeah, 'cause
around
this
that
is Roy
time
Evans
anyway.
before, isn't it?
Yeah, and he got rid of the Spice Boys gradually and sort of like clamped down on that
A bit
party
like
culture.
A bit
like
like
Arsene Wenger.
Arsene
Yeah.
Wenger with a Tuesday
Yeah,
club,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Gerard Houllier made it boring.
Yeah, that fuck. Got to chuck the Ronald McDonald costume out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got rid of Ainsley's wig.
Coincidentally, though, when they ditched the orgies with Ainsley Harriet, there's a bit of an upturn in form. And after a pretty disappointing 90s, they win the treble in 2001, sort of.
Yeah, the
They win,
crap shit
the
treble.
FA Cup, the League Cup, and the UEFA Cup. The UEFA Cup final, though, was actually quite interesting. Pretty mad game. They drew 4-4 with Alaves, the Spanish side.
Spanish giants.
And then Alaves then went down to 9 men, and Liverpool scored a golden goal and won 5-4.
That's the year that Michael Owen won the Ballon d'Or.
Was it?
Yeah, 2001. Because Liverpool they won 3 quite shit cups, and Owen was pretty unplayable at that
Yeah,
point.
that
He'd
was
scored
his
the
peak,
hat trick
right?
against Germany for
Yeah.
England, and he won the Ballon d'Or that December, I think.
So he must have been about 21.
His face still a bit creased with worry. He'd seen some stuff. He deserved that fucking Ballon
He was
d'Or.
over the moon when Gerard Houllier came in, wasn't he?
Does it? Because we did read Michael Owen's autobiography for his episode. I don't think
I
I
don't
don't think he
talk about it.
touches on that party. I'd love to hear his side of the
Yeah.
story.
Also, Zach and I, we discussed one other story that we weren't going to leave in, but I feel like it's kind of relevant, is that Owen and Carragher get in trouble at one point for befriending a local gangster in Liverpool called, I want to say he's called Michael Foley.
Something like that,
I
yeah.
hope that's his name. Apologies to any real Michael Foleys if it's not. And they're like, there's like pictures of them in a hotel room in bed with him, literally in bed with him. And they like became really good mates with him. It turns out he's like a drug lord.
Some like gangland kingpin in Merseyside.
And didn't you
I
say
think-
there's a thing where Michael Owen scores a goal and he does the celebration where he's like rubbing his hands with glee? And apparently that was a thing that this drug lord used to do, and they all found it really funny.
Mm.
And they became really good mates.
What a weird relationship.
Yeah, I think just like when you're like a famous footballer, you've got people constantly just like, showering you with love.
Giving you shit.
And you're not like there running a screening process, especially when you're like 20 in the 90s.
If you're
You can ask what he does.
literally getting into bed with drug kingpins.
Do ask what he does.
It's not great optics.
Yeah, but he does import-export,
What do you do for a living?
I'm a Ronald McDonald impersonator. Yeah, so that is obviously like a pretty glorious season. That's Gerard Houlier's high watermark, isn't it? And in the following seasons, Liverpool are like, they're not really competing for the title, but they're top 4 consistently, win a couple of League Cups, and then 2005 comes around, and we all remember what happened in that season. They make a dramatic run to the Champions League final. I was looking back on the actual run to it, and I forgot that in the group stage, they were 4 minutes from being knocked out. So they were playing Olympiacos, and they needed a goal. There were 4 minutes to go, and if they hadn't scored, they would have been knocked out. But the ball fell to Steven Gerrard.
Lovely cushioned header. But Gerrard!
Wow.
Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
I do sort of miss Andy Gray.
Yeah, the main reason I included that clip, it's Gerrard hammering a half volley into the bottom right corner to get them through. But the main reason I included it is that Andy Gray commentary.
So good.
It's an iconic goal anyway because the circumstances. But he was good, Andy Gray, wasn't he?
That technique is so hard.
To hit the ball off the bounce.
It's kind of his classic.
Yeah.
Gerrard.
If you think of a Steven Gerrard goal, it's edge of the box, low and hard.
Yeah.
And that is an absolute classic. But what a hat, son! What a hat!
Is he still commentating in like
Dubai
Dubai
Sports? If you're in the Middle East, you get Andy Gray.
Really?
I mean, he obviously turned out to be a bit of a low life, but fucking hell, he was just the voice and the commentary. I think he was the best co-commentator Sky have had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Judging just his work for a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously that takes them through, and they have this run. They beat Chelsea in the semis.
Thank you for that, Jack.
Yeah. There's only one goal in the whole 2 legs.
Yeah.
I think Luis Garcia scores.
Luis Garcia, that was it.
And Mourinho gives quite a magnanimous interview afterwards. He's like, obviously I'm gutted to have not made the Champions League final, but today I finally experienced Anfield magic because apparently the crowd were amazing. It's quite nice of him to say that.
Rare for him to do something like that.
Yeah, it's early Mourinho, isn't it?
Before he became angry.
And of course, that takes them through to a Champions League final with AC Milan. And ahead of the big game, Carragher's vice captain by this point. The squad are probably hoping that he'll sort of lift them, maybe give some encouraging words. This is what he tells the press before. He says, "No disrespect to the squad we've got now, but it's obvious we're not as strong as when we won the UEFA Cup in 2001. Cheers, Carragher.
Really up for it now, mate.
Yeah, that'll get me in the mood. To be fair, he's got a point. This is the Milan starting 11. Dida, Cafu, Maldini, Shevchenko, Gattuso, Crespo, Nesta, Seedorf, Pirlo, Kaka, Stam.
Wow.
There's not one player in that list who's not
such a
like
good team.
fucking amazing. And then the Liverpool lineup, Dudek, Finnan, Hippier, Barosh, John Anarisa, Harry Kewell, Gerrard, Luis Garcia, Xabi Alonso, Jimmy Traore, and Carragher.
There are some good players.
It's a mixed bag,
but
isn't it?
It's nowhere near that Milan team.
Yeah, it's mental. So you can see why hopes weren't that high going in.
Finnan.
Steve
Harry
Finnan,
Kewell and Jimmy Traore.
Harry Kewell.
Oh, I've rated Harry Kewell. I thought he was a great player.
I think by that point Harry Kewell wasn't that good.
Yeah, he kind of, his peak was Leeds. wasn't
Leeds,
it?
yeah.
And then
I think he'd fallen off by then. Anyway, we all remember what happens in the game. Obviously, AC Milan go 3-0 up in the first half. Could have been 9-0. Like, they were just playing so well. I was rewatching bits of it.
Didn't they,
this week.
as they were walking out for half time, I can't remember which Liverpool player spotted it, but a lot of the AC Milan players were like tapping the cup as if to say, like, we've already got it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who did the speech, but apparently it was like, don't let these guys get away with
No,
it.
so apparently, there's this story that Djibril Cissé, who was on the bench, I think he comes on. He always tells the story that at half time they went in, everyone was really dejected, and he's like, Steven Gerrard stood up, ripped his shirt off, and gave this like fight them on the beaches speech where he was like, Liverpool FC is all I've got in the world. Like, we are doing this. And he was like, it was just amazing. We all went out there like feeling amazing, and like regularly tells the story apparently. And Carragher was shown it and was like, that is complete bollocks. That speech never happened.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently Cisse just made it up. Apparently it was actually like Benitez giving quite a like tactical, like quite clinical instructions. Made a change.
Well, never let the truth get in the way of a
Well,
good
exactly.
story, you know.
Anyway, they do come back out, and I mean, Gerrard grabs the team by the scruff of the neck. He scores that goal. They pull 2 back. So they're 3-2 at this point. All the momentum swinging back to Liverpool, and then they get a penalty and miss. Score the rebound. Proper drama. Carragher has the game of his life as well. I mean, Gerrard will get man of the match, but Carragher was everywhere. There's 2 occasions where he sprints back. He's got cramp at this point. Sprints back and makes last-ditch tackles. Yeah. When I think of Jamie Carragher, I think of last-ditch tackles, coming back from a weak position. You think of
because he was in the wrong position.
I thought you were going to say, when I think of Jamie Carragher, I think of Ronald McDonald's gurning face as someone performs a sex act. But Carragher had a really fucking good game. Obviously, it goes to penalties and they win. Jamie doesn't have to take one. I mean, Milan are shit for the pens. They missed the first 2, I think.
I think psychologically, when you've gone through that, it's very hard to keep your cool.
Yeah. It's weird because AC Milan in the first half were unbelievable, and then I guess Gerrard was unbelievable in the second half. Anyway, it's got to be the best Champions League final that
I was
I've
about
seen.
to say, it probably is the most famous, but then also you've got to consider the United one.
Yeah,
as well,
Bayern Munich. But that game wasn't that good until the 85th minute.
True.
Bayern Munich went 1-0 up early on.
Yeah, and then by and large it was quite a cagey.
Yeah, obviously those 5 minutes of madness or whatever it was were amazing.
Yeah.
But this game, it was saw a pretty quality first half of just attacking creation, and then a mad the whole game was good.
Yeah. I guess because it was the United treble that made it bigger. But
yeah,
in
true.
terms of actual game.
Anyway, back in 2004, this does elevate Carragher's reputation in the game, and in fact, that December he is nominated for the Ballon d'Or.
Mental.
He finished joint 20th with none other than Cristiano Ronaldo, just below Buffon and Zidane.
Cristiano Ronaldo, really?
Yeah, obviously Cristiano Ronaldo's young at this point.
Just coming through,
I should
right?
say, to come 20th, Carragher secured 1 vote for 3rd place, because people name their top 3. So that's what got him
Who
20th.
gave him
Who was that from?
Probably the Liverpool
Steven
Echo
Gerrard,
or something.
probably.
Isn't it journalists who do it? Is it captains?
Ainsley Harriott.
Ronald McDonald has swung the
vote.
big burgers swung in his favour. Unfortunately for Jamie, his new fame does attract some unwanted attention from the press. And that summer, the gossip newsletter Pot Bitch speak to a teammate about Jamie's unsavoury pre-match habits. So I'll read it out. The headline is, "You'll never wank alone." It says, a story reaches us about Champions League hero Jamie Carragher from a former club roommate. A few years back, this Liverpool player was sitting on his hotel bed reading the newspaper when his young roommate wandered in. Without uttering a word, Jamie switched on the TV porn channel, stripped naked, lay on his bed, and got stuck into a hand shandy. This bit's quite rank. Once done, he shot on his fingers and flicked his load onto the wall. At this point, the roommate turned and looked quizzically at Carragher, who, undeterred, simply replied, "What? I'm only having a wank."
That like some sort of initiation for
Yeah.
Had he just flicked on Ready Steady Cook?
The advert for the new McNuggets came on. Sorry, mate.
Got him going again.
Just something about that. Just...
Brought him back to that basement.
Yeah, so I've never seen that story reported anywhere else, but credit to Pot Bitch, I guess. No idea about the veracity of it. It's quite the story.
He says that his young teammate came in, referring to Carragher, which suggests that it was one of the senior members of the squad who he did it in front of.
Who are you thinking? Milan Baros?
Who would be the worst one to do it in front of?
I think Gerrard would be probably the most
horrified.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Michael Owen.
Michael Owen, obviously.
I don't think Michael Owen. I think Michael Owen would just be staring into the middle distance, just not knowing what to do.
Just pretending it's not
He wouldn't say
happening.
anything.
Just like
He's already
His
so
face
traumatised
creased
by
with
this
worry.
point. He's been living with this for years. Michael Owen's 1,000-yard stare. He's seen some shit. No wonder he fucked off to Madrid. Obviously, the other thing that happens in 2005 is, having won the Champions League, Liverpool qualify for the prestigious Club World Cup in Japan. And that December they go. It was a bit of a weird tournament. If you won the Champions League, you start in the semi-finals.
how long? It's not running anymore, is it?
Yeah, they've expanded it. So this summer it's going to be like 30 clubs. Chelsea are in it.
In December.
No, it's going to be in the summer.
Summer.
Chelsea are in it because they won the Champions League. The last 4
Summer.
Champions League winners go in, and it's going to be like a World Cup sized tournament. I don't know, it's not
Too much.
Yeah. Anyway, so they beat the Costa Rican champions in the semis, and then in the final they lose to Sao Paulo 1-0. Apparently they should have won, they battered them, but they lose, which is, if you're going to have the hassle of going to that tournament, I think you need to make sure you win it.
Yeah.
So sadly, Liverpool are not Club World Champions. And they've got to fly back to the UK the next day. They've got an early flight, 8 a.m, but they decide, let's go and drown our sorrows in Yokohama, where the game was, which is a sort of like industrial port city, known for like car racing games, I think. You often see it there. Anyway, so they find a boozer. Chelsea are playing Arsenal, so they like go and watch the game in the middle of the night, get quite pissed. A load of Liverpool fans join. Apparently a lot of Carragher's mates join, and they're getting like pretty stuck in. And then the bar shuts at like 2 a.m. and there's a bit of aggro with the bouncers. The players don't want to leave. They want the night to carry on. And then a cab arrives. Steven Gerrard jumps in it with a few of the Spanish players from Liverpool. And they're about to leave. And suddenly it's just Jamie Carragher and Didi Hamann are the only players who like are stuck without a cab. So they're panicking. They don't want to get stranded. They've got a flight at 8 a.m. So they like jump on the car bonnet and like, don't leave without us. And the cab driver's getting really annoyed. And this drunken row ensues with the cab driver, who eventually gets so annoyed with them, he calls the police. And the police turn up, and Carragher and Hamann panic and run off. And suddenly they're being chased through the streets by the Japanese police.
Probably the two slowest players.
Yeah, they're not
Didi
quick.
Hamann
No
and Jamie
problem
Carragher.
And Hamann's injured, apparently. So he's like really struggling.
So Jamie just leaves him for dead.
Yeah, literally that's what happens. So Jamie gets away, and Hamann is arrested, banged up in a cell in Yokohama.
Fuck.
And
very,
it's
very similar to the Tuesday Club story, this, isn't it?
yeah. Or no triads were
Yeah.
involved. That was in Hong Kong. Asia. Anyway, so Hamann is banged up. It's 3 a.m. Carragher like somehow makes his way back to the hotel, and he's like, "Oh fuck, what am I going to tell the gaffer?" And Hamann is rooming with Sami Hyypiä. So apparently Jamie's just ringing him every 20 minutes, ringing their room, being like, "Is he back yet? Back?" And he eventually swans in at about 6 a.m. The old Bill let him out, and he just about makes the flight. Close call.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no punchline. It all ends quite nicely. And then Ronald McDonald warms up, whips his knob out, shags in the cell. Yeah, sorry, it's a happy story.
Yeah. We don't like the happy endings, Jack.
Don't you have some mad story about how is your friend who missed the flight?
Oh, right, yeah.
Is that
No,
related?
I woke up. I took a sleeping pill in New York. Just had a couple of drinks, friends, took a sleeping pill, had a flight at 6 a.m. the next day. I guess it is quite similar. I woke up in the middle of the night outside my apartment on the street in just my pants, locked out, and was like, how has this happened? Where the fuck am I? Couldn't get back in.
Was this in New York winter?
In New York. No, September, so it's like pretty warm, thank God, because it gets cold there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get back in my apartment. My flatmate was in there, but he was like the heaviest sleeper. I was throwing stuff at the window, nothing. At one point, it was quite a quiet street. It must have been like 3 a.m. and my flight was first thing, 8 a.m. At one point, this bloke comes along, first person I've seen. I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm sober." I was like, "Please, can you help me?" And the guy goes, I'm sorry. I just have to get a photo of this." Takes a picture of me and then just fucks off. So I was just like stuck there. And I'm literally like, I look like a jilted lover because I was out there. My flatmate's called Luke. I was like, "Luke, let me in."
I'm sorry, Luke.
I won't do it again.
Luke's like emptying your
Yeah,
clothing
you
out the
can
window.
fuck off. Yeah, all my possessions. In the end, a yellow cab comes past and I held it down. I was desperate. I knew about my flight and I held the cab and the guy stopped. I was like right on the bonnet. And then I was like, "I'm so sorry. This isn't what it looks like, but please, can you just take me to a police station? Like, I need someone who can get me into my apartment." So he took me, this guy, didn't say a word. And afterwards I was like, "Just give me your number. I'll pay you later." Because I've got no fucking cash on me, like in my pants. And anyway, I get to the police station, get out of the cab, and there's a copper outside smoking a cigarette. And as he sees me walk towards him, he just like drops the cigarette in shock.
Completely dishevelled.
Yeah, he was just like, "What is this?" And for the whole first 10 minutes, they were like, "We're going to get you to a hospital. You're going to be all right." They thought I'd like had a breakdown. I was like, "I'm absolutely fine." And they wouldn't even give me a fucking like blanket or anything. So I'm just sitting in the cop shop in my pants. There's like people coming in to like report thefts and stuff looking at me like no one wants to come anywhere near me. And then they're like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you live there, do you? Like, we're going to get you in. What, name a restaurant on the street?" They thought I was a crazy dude.
Crazy English guy.
And eventually they got me through to my other flatmate who was in the UK, who I think he woke up the landlord or something, got me a key. I can't remember how I got in the end and made the flight, but it was humiliating.
So had you gone to bed and then slept walked?
Yeah, Yeah, I think I'd slept-walked and meant to go to the loo and walked all the way down.
Because you was maybe thinking about the flight?
Yeah, I
Maybe
guess.
that's
I do sleepwalk sometimes, and I just slept-walked onto the road. But the policemen were like, you can see how this looks, right? I was like, yes, I can see how it looks. I was out on the street for probably 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Like, just banging on, just like, how am I going to get? I had to piss in a plant pot next to the house. It's like, how am I going to get in? I know what I did. The police took me back, and they got through to my housemate in London, because London's 5 hours ahead. He basically got through to one of our colleagues who would wake up really early, who was going to come and bring me clothes, and I just had to sit on my doorstep and wait for ages.
And then wait for your housemate to wake up.
Yeah, and then and then what happened? So the police dropped me back, and I'm still locked out, just sitting there.
Still naked?
Yeah, I'm just in my pants. They were like, "What else do you want us to do?" I was like, "Locksmith."
Have you got your spare uniform?
Yeah, nothing. And then eventually, anyway, so I was waiting for
Got a Ronald McDonald costume.
yeah, just a hat over my coat. Anyway, in the end,
Just going through the box. The only thing we've got in here is a chef outfit.
green peppers. So, anyway, in the end, they so I waited there, and then I was waiting for my colleague who we knew got up really early, so would definitely see it. And then my flatmate must have also texted him, because the flatmate who sleeps heavily must have looked at his phone, because he came out and let me in at 5 a.m. and I had to quickly shower and get to the fucking airport
And put some clothes on, yeah?
Yeah. I just wet my pants.
I
did actually tweet the police to say thanks.
Did
and
you?
they replied being like, no problem, sir.
Thank you, NYPD.
Yeah, it was fucking humiliating.
You're all heroes.
There were 10 of them in the office, all just pissing
I
themselves.
bet. That's a great story.
Yeah. Where are we? Anyway, so obviously Jamie does avoid Japanese custody.
So yeah, he does sort of get away with that one. And by the time the 2006 World Cup comes around, Jamie is a fixture of the England squad, really. He doesn't always play. Ferdinand and Terry are sort of first choice centre-back. He plays right back quite a lot when Gary Neville's injured. He actually, at the time, had the most caps for England under-21s.
He never really did it for the first team. And then
There are a lot of good centre-backs.
Yeah. Anyway, 2006, he's part of the squad. He actually plays quite a lot in the Germany World Cup. Starts a few matches. The quarterfinal against Portugal, he comes on in. That match obviously goes to penalties, and Carragher takes a pen, scores, and then for some reason his penalty gets retaken and he misses it, and England lose.
I swear that was the era where you could score, the keeper was off his line, and so they make it a retake.
Yeah.
And it's like, the keeper's got the advantage, why are you fucking me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why.
I don't know
it was
what
retaken,
actually happened, to be
yeah.
fair.
This obviously was the year of the Wags. We did our whole Baden-Baden episode. I don't think that Jamie's wife Nicola was really involved in that too much. I think she stayed out of trouble mostly. Yeah.
Well done, Nicola.
Yeah, which is more than can be said for some other members of the Carragher clan. So there are rumours. Again, this was from a Pop Bitch story, but also reported in a lot of fan forums, that Carragher's brother went to the England training camp to visit Jamie, got absolutely drunk, and ended up knobbing John Terry's mum in a lift.
You do hear it a lot.
Yeah,
John Terry's mum?
Yeah, that's like a standard.
It's a big rumour. So Liverpool fans the following season had a banner at games that read, "John Terry's ma loves a bit of scouse."
There definitely used to be a thing that Terry would get shit about it quite a lot. Whereas the other Pop
I mean, every time we played away, he was getting shit about his mum.
Yeah, but about Carragher's brother shagging her.
Yeah. I mean, there was always that famous porno that was apparently his mum.
Yeah, which was just a look
it was just a porn star who looked a bit like John Terry.
The version of the Carragher brother story I heard as well is that everyone was in a dining area and the lift opened and it was Carragher's brother shagging John Terry's mum.
Imagine they were doing like team tactics. Lift opens.
Sven's got everyone around moving the bits on the whiteboard.
Carragher's brother's just absolutely going for it.
Okay, Emil Heskey, I want you to hold the ball up, and then just ding. What? Oh,
there are a few different versions of it on various fan forums. I was reading. There's that the lift story. There's another one that it was at Garibaldi's or one of the bars that they were at, and it was during a break between them singing 10 German bombers in the
karaoke. Neville's just done the national anthem on the karaoke. That story stuck more than the other Pop Bitch one, the hand shandy one, which I've never heard elsewhere.
Yeah, I choose to believe it. His brother, though, isn't the only Carragher that's reaping the rewards of Jamie's England career. So his dad gets free tickets for an England-Netherlands game at Villa Park around this time, and ends up getting so battered on the free champagne that he gets kicked out for being drunk and disorderly. He then apparently tried to sneak past the stewards to get back into the game and ends up getting arrested and spending a night in a cell. And there's some talk at the time that he's going to get like a 5-year banning order and have to hand his passport in when England play away. Exactly. I thought you might jump in with it.
We might have had the same cell.
Same lawyer. The night lawyer.
We didn't get a fucking lawyer, they know that.
Yeah.
If people don't know what JP's talking about, listen to, I think it's the second episode we ever did about Todd Bowley's Chelsea reign.
Yes.
There's a story of JP having his passport taken away from him when England play. He got banged up on Christmas Eve for fighting at a Chelsea game.
Banged up on Christmas Eve, didn't get back till Christmas Day.
Sorry, you and your dad?
Me and my dad, yeah. My dad thought he was Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, refusing to drink water and eat. I just got this image of him like banging a ball against the wall. Like,
chalk on the wall.
Yeah, like,
you're only in there for 8 hours.
How many days?
Carved stuff in. Dead man walking the green mile.
I'm having like full English and some orange juice, and he's like completely lost.
I think I'm institutionalised now. Oh no, it's easier on the inside.
He's like Brooks from Shawshank Redemption.
Slowly with a toothpick digging an escape tunnel.
Speaking to me in Morse code.
Were you in the same cell or next to
No,
each
they
other?
put us in separate cells.
Could you shout to each other?
I was trying to talk to him, but he wasn't talking.
Taking
in his own
silence. Yeah. Part of his hunger strike.
He didn't speak to me for quite a while after that. He was absolutely fuming.
I suppose it was your fault.
But yeah, Todd Bowley episode. I think it's the first story on there.
It's worth a listen.
Sort of the inmates whistling down the corridor. Like,
Yeah, when
we
they
got a
came
new
out.
fish, boy! And he's mighty pretty!
Why is everyone talking like that? We're in Fulham. So hang on, does Carragher's dad, he does do a night in the cell?
Yeah, so he does a night in the cell. He ends up going to court, and he doesn't get the banning order in the end. He just has to pay a fine. His lawyer managed to get him off. So in court, his lawyer denied that he was drunk and said that the stewards might have thought he was drunk because of his broad Scouse accent and gravelly voice.
Surely that didn't float.
I mean, he got off, so
That is mental.
yeah, you should have tried the same.
I mean, yeah, because he got a number.
Yeah. There's also something funny about it being in the VIP section of Villa Park. He's probably surrounded by like Heineken execs and like
Yeah.
UEFA Blazers handing brown envelopes to each other.
He's just doing
Just
straw
Jamie
pedo.
Carragher.
Yeah.
Free bar.
Yeah.
So 2007, Jamie decides to retire from international football. I think, like we said, he'd kind of fallen down the pecking order a little bit. Younger players were getting picked ahead of him. He was only 29, so it was kind of a surprise. I think it's sort of fair enough. But TalkSport host Adrian Durham didn't agree. And on his breakfast show, he goes on a big rant against Jamie. He accuses him of bottling it and sort of turning his back on his country. Jamie just happens to be listening into this show on his way into training and decides to call in.
TalkSport, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Just phoned up on my way to training, listening to your show. Normally a good show until you start rabbiting on this afternoon about being a bit of a bottler. It'd be interesting to see if you've got any bottling. Come down to Anfield or Melwood and, say it to me and we'll see what happens.
I'd say it to your face and I'll say it to you now. I want to know why you're even...
Come down to Anfield on a Champions League game or whatever and we'll see them, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
You can say whatever. You can say these other players are better. Not a problem. Everyone's got opinions. That's football. Not a problem with McLaren's opinion. If he plays someone else, not a problem with him at all. But don't ever call me a bottler on radio in front of all thousands of people listening to you.
So why are you even thinking about quitting international football?
Is he saying, come and fight me?
Yeah, he's like, will you fucking come down and say
See
it to
what
my
happens
face?
at Melwood.
Is that Melwood, the training ground, right?
Yeah, Melwood. Yeah.
So apparently,
The name of his house.
when Jamie
His estate.
when Jamie first called up, like you speak to whoever, like one of the producers or something, they choose who to put on, and apparently he was swearing so much that they had to like properly calm him down. It's like, Jamie, if you're coming on,
if you wanna
if you're
do
coming
this.
on, then you've got to tone down the
fucking
swearing.
Adrian Durham.
Yeah.
Come over to Melwood, lad.
Love it. He comes out of international retirement briefly for the 2010 World Cup. He like does the tournament and then goes again. And
Did he play that tournament?
Yeah, he plays a bit and then they drop him for Matthew Upson. At which point you're like, I'm done with international football. I think it is fair enough if you just don't want to play for England. It's weird that in that era there was so much pressure like that. Like I think we talked before about Ian Wright, his column in The Sun. He said any footballer who refuses to play for England should have to phone up the mother of a soldier who's died in Afghanistan and explain it to her.
Jesus.
It's like, that's a bit. And then in 2013, he hangs up his boots with Liverpool, having scored 7 own goals. So he's second only behind Richard Dunn, who's got 10. 10's a lot. 10's not randomness, is it? But a pretty amazing career. One club man, 700 odd appearances.
Yeah.
I mean, a hell of a centre-back. You can't deny that.
A real hard worker of a player. And to mark his retirement, Jamie throws a mid-season leaving do. It's quite a weird time to throw your leaving do. He picks 5 days before the Merseyside derby. So he charters a 30 grand private jet and a load of the team fly out to Madrid, where they're out clubbing till 7 a.m. So according to the press, Carragher was first to leave the club at 4 a.m.
Of course.
And then before the 6 a.m. close, Daniel Sturridge was spotted chatting up 3 senoritas outside.
You can imagine Sturridge having a right chirp.
Yeah. He must have been quite young at that point.
Smooth operator, isn't he?
Yeah. That all sounds quite tame, doesn't it? It's quite nice, but quite a random time. The Merseyside derby was 0-0, so probably a bit sluggish. I think it was a bit of a dead rubber. It was like one of those seasons where basically Liverpool and Everton are basically playing for who finishes higher out of the two of them. That's it. And then that's the end of Jamie's career. He is, of course, immediately signed up by Sky as a pundit and commentator. Like, he literally does one summer off and then he's on Sky. He's a breath of fresh air, I think, when he stars.
I think he's one of the best pundits on Sky, to be honest.
So Neville had already been on for a couple of years, and then Carragher joins, and they obviously strike up this unlikely bromance, because they'd been rivals, hated rivals in some respects. Yeah. Jamie becomes known mainly for his new catchphrase.
There. So he runs inside really close to him because he square that, and watch him. He just tries to play offside there. He just stops. I always feel anything that goes there, that's Fabinho's.
There, and there. So he's very much a fan favourite, I think, and everyone loves the Neville partnership. And I'd say more than anyone, he seems to have just slipped into retirement very naturally and just got this great new life. But it's all about to come crashing down. It's March 2018. Stephen Hawking has just popped his clogs. The beast from the east is battering Britain. And Jose Mourinho has just guided Man United to a 2-1 win over Liverpool. And Jamie is fuming. He's driving home. He's pissed off about the result. He's sort of changing lane on a dual carriageway when a Man United fan in another car spots him and starts goading Jamie. And the bloke is filming it. He's like filming Jamie's car and he starts crowing at him. 2-1, unlucky Jamie lad. And Carragher sort of sees this, winds down his window to work out what the bloke's on about. And he can tell he's abusing him. And in a moment of madness, Jamie coughs up some phlegm and blasts a big old torrent of gob out of his mouth and at the bloke's car. But unfortunately for Jamie, the spit lands on the man's 14-year-old daughter. And it is all caught on video.
I've never seen this.
Right, you're in for a treat.
Jamie Carragher there, look.
Stop it.
Jamie.
Oh, the way his daughters.
2-1. 2-1, mate. Yeah. Unlucky Jamie, lad. 2-1, lad.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Don't.
Oh.
What?
Jamie Carragher spat on my daughter. Nice.
Oh, my God.
You've never seen it?
Nice.
Never seen
Very
that.
nice, Jamie Carragher.
Jamie Carragher just spat on my daughter.
Yes, a few things. I love how he goes, ooh. Zero concern for his actual daughter.
Yeah,
by the way.
he doesn't ask at all if she's all right.
It's just like, oh, Jamie Carragher spat on my daughter. I think actually, and we'll come to the bloke involved, but he almost comes out of it worse.
Really?
Well, because he's like, acting like a fucking child. The only person acting like a fucking grown-up is the 14-year-old girl in the front seat who's being like, can you just not?
Yeah. He's antagonising him, isn't he?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, but not a good way to react, Jamie.
So the Daily Mirror published the video. He's branded vile and disgusting by the tabloids, and all hell breaks loose. He's public enemy number one. So Sky suspend Carragher for the rest of the season immediately, and they make him come on Sky News to issue a grovelling apology. Let's watch the beginning.
And Jamie joins me in the studio now. Hello to you, Jamie. Just before we talk, let's have a look at the footage of this incident.
No! Yeah, they make him watch.
Make him watch the...
Jamie Carragher there, look. Carragher there, look. Jamie. 2-1. 2-1, mate. Unlucky Jamie, lad. 2-1, lad.
No, they play it back in slow-mo.
Carragher spat on my door. Nice.
So, Jamie, I'm recoiling watching that. It is disgusting. How do you feel when you see it back?
Exactly the same. You can't obviously condone that behaviour no matter what.
Is it 13 minutes long? This interview?
So he goes on for 13 minutes, and he says that it was a moment of madness. He says it was like an out of body experience. I didn't even see the girl there, but he's obviously really contrite. But I do think it would have been quite funny after the presenter goes, "I'm recoiling at that," if he just gulped in her face.
Yeah. Can't condone this.
Have some of that.
Wow.
Yeah, mental. I actually think he didn't know the girl was there because he was so focused on the guy he would be looking at the guy's phone probably. Couldn't even see that much of the guy's face. But also, what the fuck are you doing?
Just don't do that, mate.
Do you think that is like, to do that, does it imply that you often do that and when you're confronted? Probably not. I genuinely believe that it was like a complete moment of madness, just red mist. Didn't know how to do anything and just panic.
I kind of understand it if he was playing in the match, but he's retired. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, that just shows how much he like loves Liverpool. Basically,
it's weird 'cause he's an Everton fan. Yeah, it's like how angry he is, but that doesn't come across in commentary. I don't think he's a biased commentator particularly.
But also, how many you get antagonised by other fans all the time. You don't spit at them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gary Neville tells a story where he stopped at a traffic light and some Liverpool fans were rocking his car side to side. Which is worse, I think.
Gary's too PG to do anything.
Yeah,
like that.
Carragher he did throw a coin back into the crowd one time as well.
Yeah, he did.
At Highbury, I think it was.
Yeah. I obviously think spitting in someone's face is like the grimmest thing you can do, but there is part of me that's just quite like, I sort of fucking love that he did that. Anyway, so obviously he has to go on a big like apology run. Because the backlash keeps growing. So some angry fans petition the government to intervene. And 10 Downing Street have to make a statement being like, this is not a matter for us to be
Fair enough.
Theresa May's like, bit busy trying to control ISIS and stay in the customs union. Can you not ask me to?
She didn't do very well anyway.
No, on either of those things. And then amid the pylon, a number of quite unlikely critics join in. Joey Barton brands his actions absolute madness. Which, I mean,
it's a bit rich.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah, pot kettle black, mate.
Boxer Billy Joe Saunders calls him an absolute wanker. That's the same guy who pays crack addicts to punch passers-by in the street. No word from Ronald McDonald. His silence.
He likes being spat on.
Yeah, Ainsley Harriott said, "Hawk." At one point, the press get hold of a Liverpool fan who had given his son the middle name Carragher, and the bloke's now changing it to Gerrard. He's too devastated. The mood is lightened when former Bradford striker Dean Windass blunders into the pylon. He tweets, "If you spat at me, I would pull your head off. Great mole roddle, and I have made me mistakes."
Yeah,
great mole roddle.
Mole roddle, yeah. And as for the, I guess you'd call them victims, the 14-year-old girl and her dad. So the dad is Andy Hughes, who is he was an air conditioning engineer, lives in the Cheshire area, Man United fan, obviously. Jeremy Vine calls for Andy to go straight to jail for filming while driving.
I mean, it is illegal.
Yeah, and Jeremy Vine's hot on that, isn't he?
Yeah.
And actually, Andy Hughes, the bloke filming, he does actually get done for using his phone at the wheel. Gets a visit from the police. He starts getting death threats from Liverpool fans, at which point Jamie actually helps him. He issues a statement saying just like, come on, lay off this bloke. Weirdly, Carragher and Andy sort of become a bit close over this. So Then when people are calling for Carragher to be sacked, Andy speaks out and says, please don't sack him. It was a moment of madness. And Jamie phones him multiple times just to check in on him and obviously his daughter. So, kind of nice.
I suppose once you've shared spit, you know, there's a bit of a common bond.
We're blood brothers now.
Yeah.
Don't know if the 14-year-old girl's involved in that. Here's a picture of Andy Hughes we're looking at. I'll link to it in the show notes.
He looks a bit like Peter Kay.
Is that a Carragher eye view?
Yeah, it's him at the wheel of his car looking serious.
I just feel like commenting on him
If
now,
you're ever involved in a story and the press asks you to do a really serious pose like this, don't do it. You will end up looking
because you're going to
like
end up like that. Yeah.
It's a classic of the tabloid, the wronged photo.
Yeah.
Where they
Yeah.
just say, stand there and look
Look
like
a bit.
you've been wronged.
You know, like, have you ever seen that? There's that one, it's like couple, it's like an old couple and they're complaining to their TV company. They keep getting billed for porn channels and they don't know how they've used it. And there's a pic of them both with folded arms in front of their TV and the bloke, the man has such guilt in his eyes. It's an amazing picture. Anyway, so Jamie has at least got Andy Hughes in his corner. I guess in a way, they're the only ones at the centre of this storm. They've sort of got a lot in common. It's a weird, like, how did you guys meet?
Weird bond.
He's not the only one in this corner because Sunderland legend Richard Ord uses his column in the Hartlepool Mail to suggest a pretty rogue strategy for Jamie's PR. He says, is there a school of thought that says football pundit Jamie Carragher should brazen out the spitting controversy? Instead of apologising for spraying a teenage girl with his phlegm, would he not be better off demanding she grow a pair? After all, it's only water. Okay, it's bacteria-ridden digestive water from the back of his throat, but water nonetheless.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been quite a brave strategy.
Was that the same PR team that advised Boris Becker to explain knocking up that woman in a broom cupboard by saying that she'd kept his sperm in her mouth and then inseminated herself at home?
It's just like, what was the point of that explanation for Boris Becker? It's like, okay, so she gave you a blowjob instead. Like, is that marginally better?
Maybe.
Yeah, would have been brave. Anyway, Jamie, obviously, he gets suspended for the rest of the season. This is March, so it's a few months off, then the summer, and then he's back the following season. A lot of Richard Keys in particular, having been sacked by Sky for various sexist incidents, he's always said it's really unfair that Carragher was allowed
to
back.
come back, yeah.
I'm Team Carragher on it.
I suppose within the lives of like the general public, what Keys and Gray did is worse than what Carragher did.
Yeah. I think it's worse because with Keys it was a pattern of behaviour. It was loads of different things. It wasn't just the thing about the linesman. There was the smash it thing. There was the like get your tits out for the lads chanting. It was just like all the time. It was like you're obviously not a good presence here, and it happened at work.
Yeah.
Whereas Carragher's thing, it's like okay,
moment of madness.
If that is a one-off, which so far it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much of a big deal, to be honest.
They gave Ainsley Harriott back his job.
True.
And Ronald McDonald.
I think Carragher will be treading very carefully from now on.
Yeah. Imagine if he just did it again.
One man who's not such a big fan of Jamie, though, is Lionel Messi, who Jamie has the gall to criticise on air one time. And apparently Messi must have been watching this Monday Night Football and DM'd Jamie on Insta calling him a donkey.
It's quite nice that he knows who he is.
Yeah.
It's weird. You'd associate that more with Ronaldo than Messi to be that thin-skinned about criticism.
There was another clip when Ronaldo's back at United when he, they go up there, they do their like punditry on the pitch, and Ronaldo goes around and like gives Gary Neville a hug, gives Roy Keane a hug, handshakes the presenter and just completely blanks Jamie.
Yeah, so
but Jamie takes it really well, just starts pissing himself.
Yeah. Because and then Neville criticises Ronaldo, and there's another time where he blanks Neville.
Yeah,
he's so petty.
Yeah,
that kind of like self-deprecating behaviours, I think it's great
from Carragher.
He doesn't take it.
Neville does that too. I think he does self-deprecate.
Yeah, true.
More recently, though, Carragher's become a fixture of CBS's Champions League coverage. They've embraced this whole Bants thing. It's like him, Michael Richards, Thierry Henry, and Kate Abdo. Although, much like the 1998 Christmas party, Jamie Carragher does take that attitude slightly too far when he suggests that Kate Abdo had cheated on her husband, Malik.
Wear it next, and for the last part, you've got to wear it.
No, I'm loyal. To
who?
My jacket Manchester
looks
United.
nice,
Thank you very much.
Looks nice. Not to Malik.
What? Why would you even say that?
Sorry? He hasn't had a mention in the show yet.
He hasn't had a mention.
It's just the way the rest of they all
so awkward.
Yeah, they all fall into this like stunned silence, and Jamie's just still cackling.
Yeah, she's like, what? Yeah, but you can tell he's slightly trying to climb down already because he goes, he hasn't been mentioned yet on the show.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a bit like, oh, fuck. You know that, like, you're just joking around with someone and you go a bit far.
Yeah, and to be honest, it wasn't the brightest idea because Malik just happens to be a 6'4" heavyweight boxer who trains Deontay Wilder. So, imagine Jamie probably had a few sleepless nights after that.
Spin him out.
Yeah.
Have you seen that clip of Jamie Carragher laughing really loudly at his own joke?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. I'll get it out.
This one I didn't celebrate for my newborn baby, so I knew the wife would kind of
be on your case. They always are.
About it, so I was like, okay.
It seems like in that kind of studio environment, he just got sort of whipped up into a sort of overexcited, kind of giddy, sort of giggly.
Well, I think if you're told to make gags constantly and have this bit of this like little brother relationship with Kay Abdo, you're occasionally going to go a bit far like that. And he did.
I wonder if he apologised.
And, you know, as the story of this pod has been, he just sometimes goes a bit far. Throughout his career.
Yeah.
I think, like, is he a wrong 'un or not? He's definitely not. No. I really like him.
Yeah.
But there are some people who hate him and they just, like, I don't know, people who get overly angry about pundits.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because it's like football fans, really, isn't it? Like,
Man United,
because
maybe.
he's Man United fans, like because he's quite firmly like Camp Liverpool and all his punditry, then people just love him to hate him because of that.
Yeah, I think nice guy occasionally takes it too far.
Yes.
Not a wrong one.
About right, yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, I think that's all we got time for. Thanks a lot, JP.
Thank you for having me again, boys.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you again soon.
See you soon, lads.
See you soon, lad. Zach, cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.